What is up, fellas? Notebook Wagering here live from the Salisbury Center, Manassas, Virginia. Smitty sitting alongside of me in studio. I've got Matty Nails and J-Cam holding it down in Pittsburgh. Boys, it's 65 and lovely down here in Virginia. What's the weather like in Pittsburgh?
Actually, not too shabby for a little February action. I think we hit 52 today, maybe. Potentially some cough, bag work, golf Friday. I think we might get up near 60, but hopefully nobody from work's listening to this. So
I love it. Listen, you're working remote. It happens.
I'm going to say, because there might be some people that I work with that are listening to me. So I'm feeling great, and I should be at work for the next couple of days.
All right, boys, we got an action pack. We've got Super Bowl Sunday coming up. We're excited. So we kind of did Super Bowl intro last week, kind of dabbled into it. Tough without any line movement. Really no props out, but props are starting to fly open on all your sports books. The line still hasn't changed. We can talk about that. But why don't we start this in the best fashion we know how? We always love bringing guests on. We've got an incredible guest for you guys today, specifically to talk Super Bowl. I think he's the guy with the answers. Would you agree, Smitty?
Oh, absolutely. This guy knows it all.
All right. We have MGM Beau Rivage out of Biloxi, Mississippi, sportsbook director and co-host of one more podcast. We've got Jic Jac, Carl Jic Jac Johnson. What's going on, Carl?
Hey, what's up, guys? Look at you, man. I mean, look, I got to say, man, I'm so proud of you guys, man. I mean, you guys got your own set now. I was thinking about this the other day. You guys have such a love. I wish, and I guess it's because I'm around it all day long, but I wish I had that love of getting into these games and then just doing what you guys do. I'm proud of you guys. You guys doing a great job. Just keep it going.
Well, thank you very much, man. It's big time to have you on. I think there's a big game on Sunday, Carl. Big game?
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's dive into it. What do you think's going to happen? Give where the money is right now. What's your overall opinion on it?
Yeah. So I mean, look, we opened this thing, in a brief couple of minutes. We opened as Kansas City favorites here. It immediately got gobbled up. They started hitting the Eagles, and they haven't stopped. We flipped this thing all the way to 1.5 from 1.5. And it's just been absolutely constant Eagles from the get-go. This is a good game for us. This is a good matchup from the books perspective. When it's over with, we're going to I was talking about this today. I mean, game-wise, I have a feeling that I think Kansas City money will come late, and I think what will happen is game-wise, once we get into the game, we won't really worry about the outcome of the game itself, just because of the futures. When this thing's over with, there's going to be 31 football teams' futures that go down the drain and into the books' coffins.
Absolutely.
We're only going to pay out one winner, and that's kind of where we're going to be in a situation with this Super Bowl that I think we're going to be all right, and hopefully the people out there betting it can win a little money.
Carl, and the other guys can get in on this, but when you're saying you had some line movement, is that just line movement by volume, small amounts just over time, or are you having kind of shark money come in?
We've had it right now. It's a little sharp money. I mean, they really haven't pounded this game except for early on when they flipped it. Right. Basically right now it's just public money, some sharp money, and they're all on the Eagles right now. It's, I think when I left the book today, I think we were somewhere in the range of like 70% money with an 85% ticket count on the Eagles.
Wow. That is jaded. I will say that. Now, when do you expect, kind of the sharp money to really come in? Do you think it's going to come in like Saturday night, Sunday morning, or an hour before kickoff?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think we're going to get some late Kansas City money is I think those guys are sitting back on this thing.
Yeah.
They know that the public is so heavily ticket count money-wise. They know that they're just pounding the Eagles.
Right.
So I think we're going to, before kick here, we'll see a real good volume of Kansas City money coming in on this thing. And I think that's the way it's going to be. And that's the good thing about this matchup for us. Now if you was talking about a 7-8 point spread, it might not be like this game. It might not be bet the same way, but I think we're going to get some pretty good action both ways here. Today I took a $50,000 bet on both sides, so that's kind of what we're looking for, and that's, I think, once we get into, and I also noticed that this afternoon it started ramping up. You could kind of feel it. People will be coming in starting tomorrow night at our hotel. We're going to be booked solid,
right?
So that's when we'll really see this money come in.
Well, I'm no sharp, but you'll get my $100 to Kansas City. It is coming. Jason, Matt, you got anything?
On a Super Bowl weekend, like, how much do props account for the take that you'll have on a Super Bowl game? Does it actually like make a dent in the pie of all the bets that you have? Or, I mean, obviously we've seen all the online props that came in pretty early, but on a book like yourself, like, how much money, or not, what percentage will you take in on prop action?
Yeah, I mean, look, props over the last couple of years have gotten extremely popular. Got a lot of new bettors coming into these markets now that they just opened up in their state. They're getting involved in it. Look, that we're going to make our money off this Super Bowl. All these books are going to make their money off these Super Bowls with futures wagers and props. And that's what I meant earlier. I mean, we're probably going to be in a situation with the game where we don't really have a decision. I mean, it's going to be it's going to probably be pretty close to being even, and we'll make our money on these props. I would imagine these props will account for, I don't know, 50-60% of the total pool. I mean, it's high. It's we got people betting these props and that are not betting the game itself. So and I look, I don't know how these other states that are just coming online. I don't know how that's going, but just from the public, they love these player props.
Carl, do you think single game parlays have helped with that a little bit, because people kind of built those over the season, so they're kind of more familiar with the props than maybe they would have been in prior years?
Absolutely. And look, that's one thing about just about every book in the country is going to hold about 85% of parlay wagers. I mean, that's why they take them. That's why they make them available. You're gonna have guys that get lucky. We had a guy, I guess a couple of weeks ago in the championship games. What'd he do? He had a turn like $15 into 70-something thousand by playing the 4 touchdown, I think 3 tight ends and a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. So you got that, and that's good for us. But in the reality of the thing, we're going to hold about 85% of every dollar that we take in on parlays.
Oh, wow. Carl, with these props, there's so many crazy ones out there. And I heard a rumor today about the Gatorade bath. And supposedly, now this is just a rumor, I'm going to use air quotes. Supposedly Gatorade actually picks the color that is going to go in the cooler that gets dumped, therefore skewing like all these trends. How the heck do you guys handicap something like that?
Yeah, you really don't. And so I'll tell you, in the state of Mississippi, we're not taking that wager. It's not an approved wager. So it's real weird how the gambling markets are. There's in other words, this is what I have to do as a director or manager of a sports book. When this game ends, I'm going to request my wagers for next year. And there's all the little specific things, MVP, we have to. Now, the game itself, it's an automatic renewal, but for the prop bets and stuff like that, you got to request wagers from your state gaming to get approved. And some of the states don't have all the props. But look, the answer to your question is I don't know how you handicap the Gatorade deal.
You taste test.
The only thing that I know is that there's a lot of states that won't approve that because someone knows what the color is. And if I had a friend and he worked for, the Philadelphia Eagles, and he could tell me what color Gatorade it was, I'm going to bet it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So Yeah, so they markets try to avoid stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Hey, Carl, one thing you did all year, you did your opening lines or what you thought the spread should be. I did not see it, or maybe I missed it. Maybe you had it on Twitter. What was your opening line for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, my line came out Kansas City 2. Kansas City was a 2-point favorite with my power ratings. You know, and I think the bookmakers tried to say early on, hey, this is who we like, and it lasted about 5 seconds. You know, in a matter of minutes, the thing had flipped. You know, we just got such a heavy rush early on. But yeah, I got Kansas City as a 2-point favorite.
Carl, when you start having the sharp monies, or maybe somebody famous like a Mattress Mac come in, or somebody else with notoriety in the gambling industry, do you kind of know when they're coming in? Like, is it, hey, this is going to be a heads up? Well, I plan on coming in this, 24 hours, kind of be on a lookout, or do they just kind of come in unscripted and you just happen to be there or not? Or you get the call, hey, you need to come in. I got a big wig here. How fast can you be here?
Yeah, so I've dealt with Mattress Mac a lot. I deal with him, once or twice just about every year. So we know each other. He calls.
Okay.
We set this up. What he does is he wants to get down a certain amount, generally, like, for instance, his Astros bet every year.
Choo.
So what he does is he contacts us. He says, hey, I want to come in. I want to put, $1 million on the Astros. What will you give me that? And then normally we'll counter. We'll say, look, we'll give you $500,000 at 8-1, and we'll give you the other $500,000 at 6-1. So
Okay.
it's usually prearranged with him, and I would imagine he does that just about everywhere he goes.
Sure.
He wires money into the cage, and then what he'll do is he'll show up at the cage in advance, and he'll bring us chips. He'll bring us a stack of $25,000 chips. It's
Sure.
It's really the thing that I like about Jim is that if you want to talk to him, he'll stop and talk to you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Now, is he planning on making a pretty large wager? I know the last wager, I want to say, through you directly was University of Houston to win the NCAA tournament. Have you had any conversation with him coming in for this?
Yeah, no, he told me that he wouldn't be here for the Super Bowl, but he is coming back for March Madness. He'll come back for a round 2 on March Madness, and then he'll come in and make his baseball bet.
Love it.
Is that on the Pirates this year? Just throwing that out? No? Okay.
Team total over.
All right. Okay. Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
Mac, there's other winners on the card. Just listen to the show.
I was going to say, you probably wouldn't talk to Matty, though, because obviously the Philly connection there. He's not a real big Phillies fan at this point.
Hey, Carl, I'm going to switch gears here. So for everybody listening, Carl is a big foodie guy, and people love his food posts on Twitter. So I want to know, what 3 Super Bowl snacks / eats are must-haves for you?
Yeah, so look, it's amazing. Look, I talk to you guys probably more so than I do any other people that have podcasts. Smitty, I talk to Smitty all the time. And even my wife, Lisa, she don't quite understand it. I literally get, you would think of all the questions that's asked of me, and I get asked a bunch of different questions, but food is number one. I get 25 to I don't know, sometimes 50 messages in a week just talking. They want to talk about food. They want to know what I'm cooking. Please post something. And I'm the type of guy that for a Super Bowl, I don't believe that you should have a cooked meal. The Super Bowl is made for finger food.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got to have little drumsticks, you got to have the little baby sausages or whatever you want to call them, the nachos. I mean, I really like a good chicken, a nachos with chicken, jalapenos, that type of stuff for Super Bowl.
That's why I threw it out there, because, I mean, you're right. You really don't need a cooked menu. You need snacks, finger foods, stuff you can just keep eating, picking at all game.
Absolutely.
Well, Carl, I doubt you'll make the trip, but we're having a little soiree at the house. We'll have some wings and whatnot, so you're invited. It's always open. The door's always open.
Well, I appreciate that. And, look, you guys know, or you guys should know that anytime you guys want to come down to the Beau Rivage, I'll get you set up. We're going to have a nice Super Bowl party there. We've got 3 venues. We're going to have we're filled in the sports book itself. And then we're going to have a Super Bowl party for I guess what they call upper echelon, VIP, whatever you want to call them.
So people like us.
Party in the ballroom for them with a buffet style, and then we're going to have also we're going to use our nice theater, and we're going to let the public overflow go into the theater. So it's going to be a nice weekend.
So don't tempt us.
So does the teaser king get the suite if I come down?
Absolutely.
That's what I like to hear.
But look, if you do ever decide to come down, you have to bring the crown.
Oh, I'll bring everything.
He's wearing it on the plane.
I'll wear it on the plane. I'll put the robe on, and I'll have it all.
Sir, that's not a carry-on. That's my daily hat. Carl, do you outside of what the sports book, the capping, where do you think this game's going to go in terms of? So we're looking at over and under started at 49.5 via scores and odds. Over unders currently at 50.5. So little rise there, and then obviously it's kind of stayed -1.5, -2 for the Eagles. Where do you if you were to put your money onto it? Where would you lean?
Yeah, so I went over some props today.
Yeah, or props.
You notice in these, so this is what I think about the game. For one thing, when I'm trying to decide on what I'm going to bet, I've literally tried to see how the game is being played. I try to, in my mind, just see how it's played. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I visualize, I guess that's my golf background, but I visualize the game being played, and I visualize myself watching it. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's a 3-point game, which brings into play the game goes to overtime. I like. It's at 8-1 on the yes. So I think that if you're thinking that it's going to be a 3-point game or 1-score game, you have to play at 8-1. You got to put a little pizza money on the overtime. So I like that. Also, the largest lead of the game, 14.5. I like the under there. And that's what I try to do. Like I said, I try to visualize how the game's being played, and then I go into my props and start looking at stuff and going, well, I think different than that. I don't think there's going to be a 14.5-point difference in this game at any time. So I like the under there. So that's just kind of how I like to play it out. Shortest touchdown, for an example, they got, it's always over or under 1.5 yards. I think we'll see probably a pass interference penalty in the end zone. I think they'll spot it at the 1, and I think it'll be scored from there. So I like under 1.5. Just little stuff like that, that I try to think about what's going to happen. And look, I like Kelsey. And I think, someone asked me a question, I guess it was yesterday on Twitter. A guy asked me, he said, hey, what's your favorite prop? And so I really envision Kelsey having a real big game in this Super Bowl. And for whatever reason, I don't know why it's in my mind, because it's only happened like 4 times in all the previous Super Bowls where a non-quarterback has thrown a touchdown pass. But I like Kelsey. Look for him individually. You can't find it nowhere. I can only find non-quarterback throwing a touchdown pass. But I like Kelsey to throw a touchdown pass in this game.
That's interesting.
Hey, Carl, I want to piggyback that real quick. So one of the props I actually hit is over 2.5 passes, or over 2.5 players to throw a pass. Not even complete it, just throw a pass.
I like that, Matty.
I think that fits perfect, because both your quarterbacks are going to throw a pass, and I think a running back or a tight end or a wide receiver will throw a pass. I think I like that bet.
Well, also the other reason I actually bet that already is because we both know Mahomes has got a gimpy wheel. We don't know to what extent. and Hurts still has a dinged shoulder. So the chance of these guys getting roughed up a little bit with these two good defenses is pretty actually high. So if they have to go out for a series and you're telling me Chad Henne or Minshew's not going to come in and sling at least one ball around, they're not going to hand it off probably 3 straight times. So
yeah. And to answer Q's initial question, me personally, I like the under in this game. You got, generally when two pretty good offensive teams go against each other, they're so conservative with each other that generally the game will fall under.
Now, how do you feel with that being said? Well, two of them, I'll touch base. So the passing stuff that you and Matt are talking about. So my favorite is Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception. So he's been obviously in 2 Super Bowls. He's thrown 2 picks in each Super Bowl. Not all of them have been his fault. Obviously, a deflected pass is on paper it's his fault, and it happens. But that's one of my favorites. And then with the under, both teams to score 20. I kind of see a 24-20 game, or 24-21. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Or do you think somebody is kind of stuck at 17?
Yeah, I think you're spot on right there. I think both quarterbacks. I think the only way I don't think you can make the bet of the quarterbacks not throwing an interception. I think if you're going to make a bet like that, it's always got to be that they're going to throw an interception, because I think the chances are really good that they are.
Yeah.
So the Eagles have such a good pass rush. They're going to, and they're a solid defense. I mean, you're talking about tip balls. I don't think Mahomes is going to throw it to another player, right in the gut. But I think there's a lot of things that can happen. So I love your bets. I think you're spot on with what you're thinking.
Carl, I just want to piggyback off what you said with the under there. I looked at some numbers here. The last 6 games for the Eagles, they're 5-1 on the under, and the Chiefs last 5, they're 4-1 on the under. So I'm right with you. I have a teaser play in this. The teaser train's coming. It's coming. And the one thing, man, jack it up and take the under. I'm right on board with you.
Yeah, I think I'm just thinking about what happened today. So we had a guy that came in and he was trying to play exact scores. And he parlayed. He was able to parlay that with us. He put $100 on 31-27 Eagles. $100 is going to get him back 45,000. Yeah. I mean, so if you're thinking, so that's another thing too. So if you're like, you guys are thinking under. So if you're thinking under, you're thinking 3 or 4 points, the difference in this game, then you got to start thinking of, 24-21, like you said, 2017, stuff like that. And then he played another one. I think he played 21-17, and $100 there was going to get him back like 31,000. So there are things in that, in this Super Bowl that you can do that's actually solid bets, just depending on how you're thinking about the game.
Carl, I bet that guy's on block polls with 1 and 7 too.
He might be. I was in when he came to the window. He was asking me in the way that our booklet is laid out. We don't have some of the places already put the scores together. So they already put like 23-20, and they put it in a block, and you got to bet that. Well, with us, we have each individual team scoring an amount of points, and so it allows you to parlay that with the other team scoring the exact amount of points. So it pays a little bit more than some of these other places around here too.
Yeah, I kind of like that strategy. Gain a little more money on it.
Yeah.
Have you been getting a lot of action on Eagles 37, Chiefs 34 since the game script leaked a couple of days ago?
Yeah. We were talking about that today. One of my writers that does some YouTube videos, he's actually a real knowledgeable kid, and he came up to me today. He said, "Mr. Carl, did you hear about the script?" And I went, "Son, what are you talking about?" Because look, we all and look. Let me just say this. I love Stevie Shrimp. He is one of the biggest conspiracy theories persons that there's out there. So this is all I can tell you. There is no, and this is what I told this kid today. He works for me. I told him, I said, son, there is no way that these games – now, look, you might have referees that are throwing games. I'm not saying that something strange hadn't ever happened to where games hadn't been decided by stuff like that. But all I can tell you is that for an organization to script out how the game is being played, there's no way over the course of, however long it's been since they've been playing football that anybody could keep that quiet, especially like a disgruntled player that got kicked out of the league or something like that. Don't you think he would be all over the media going, we knew what was going to happen? It don't fly.
Well, we need some new writers because I need the Steelers to start winning some games here, Carl.
Yeah, right.
So maybe there's a giant one of those lottery ball wheels that goes off in the beginning of the season, and if the helmet doesn't come up through the lottery ball, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
That Steeler lottery ball got pretty beat up in the 70s and 80s, so it hangs down now below some of those other ones. That's what's going on.
Well, maybe next year. Maybe the writers will be in a little better mood for the Steelers. So
keep Tua healthy. That'll be a good start.
I want to see that Browns ball.
So,
right.
Carl, do you have a favorite player? I mean, I know you have some. You said you have some props there. Is there really one that's really standing out for you that you're really going to jump on, or like somebody that you can maybe mention that they really love and they're going to pound? Do you have any?
Yeah. I think Kelsey's going to have a huge game. Travis Kelce, I think he'll have a huge game. I've been studying. Actually, look, I don't study this stuff per se, but I can tell you in the last couple of days, I've actually been studying Travis Kelce. And I think Travis is going to have a big game, and I'm looking at, so this is another thing too. So most of these bets in these Super Bowl prop sheets, if you look at them, they're correlated. Okay. They're mainly all correlated. So if I don't like, I'll give you an example. So let's just say that Kelsey's yardages are 78.5 yards. Okay. Something like that. If I don't like that number, his catches, I'll look at his number of catches, and his catches might be 7.5. So what I'll say is that, you know what, if they're saying that he's going to catch 7.5 balls, the chances are he's going to be over 78.5 yards. So that's kind of how I look at it. But I'm going to play some Kelsey props. I think he has a big game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I already took that 78.5 over. I took Kelsey as a anytime touchdown before it kind of jumped too large of a play, and I'll probably have a couple more. I'm in agreement. He runs his own routes. He's the comfort blanket for a little beat up Mahomes. I think you're right on track there.
Yeah, they just can't cover him. There's nobody on that Eagles defensive backfield that can cover him.
Absolutely.
I just don't think so.
All right, boys, you guys anything?
I'm good, man. That was great. Great info.
Matt, Jason?
I'm good, man. Get Carl out of here. He's got a lot to do, a lot to prep for coming up.
He's got a busy week.
Yeah.
All right, Carl, we obviously love having you on the show. You're welcome anytime. We'll definitely bring you on, especially after the Super Bowl. We got March Madness. I mean, we're right back into it, into the heart of the championship. So we'll bring you back on. And again, thanks for supporting us and helping us get to where we are here today. And we'll keep on this journey together.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm proud of you guys. You guys keep doing what you're doing. If you need anything, let me know.
Awesome. Thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
All right, man.
Always love having Carl Johnson. Jic Jac Johnson for everybody. Once again, he's a co-host of One More Podcast with Stevie Shrimp, correct?
No, Stevie's not on it right now. Stevie's doing some other things right now. Bill Berman's on it. Ryan Hyatt is on it right now. Really, really good podcast. So check those guys out.
And once again, that's MGM Beau Rivage out of Biloxi, Mississippi. If you're there, go up to Carl, just tell him the Notebook Wagering Boys sent you, and he'll take care of you.
I had some people already text me. They're like, "Hey, how do we hang out with Carl?"
You come with us.
I'd love to get him up here and hang out and go fishing, do some of that stuff. But yeah, go to the Beau Rivage. That guy will talk to you anytime.
Can I tell you real quick, just a little side note, and then we'll get back into it. Speaking of fishing, so one of our very first shows, we kind of scripted. It was me and Smitty on the betting deck. And he was like, why don't we have a caller? And I think our good friend Dr. Brent came on, and then we have another buddy, BJ, who came on. And he was like, hey, tell BJ to call in like 5 minutes. We'll take him. And, hey, first time, long time listener, first time caller out of Fredericksburg. And I remember I was like, hey, BJ, you're on the air with Notebook Wager, and what's going on? And he's like, hey, good to be here, long time listener, first time caller. And Smitty goes, yeah, I heard the trout fishing capital of the world is Fredericksburg, Virginia. And I couldn't have had a more silent moment of not knowing what to say. And you hear BJ on the other end like, yeah, that's just what we do down here.
You didn't know that I was a big outdoorsman, everybody, did you? No, and I had no clue. I was just making something, trying to say something stupid.
We'll get
like
Carl.
I'm good at doing sometimes. So
we'll fish with Carl trout, the capital right there, Fredericksburg, Virginia. For those that didn't know, we didn't know. Smitty knew, and
it's gorgeous.
We pass on the knowledge.
Streams are beautiful. Streams are beautiful up here.
Little throwback there. You just kind of brought that up, so. Figured I'd have to throw it out there, a little fun at Smitty. But let's get into kind of, obviously we were bouncing some plays with Carl. Let's kind of get into what we think's going to happen. I know you guys were kind of watching last week to see any live movement, which again there really hasn't been any. Has that changed your thought? Have you kind of leaned more specifically, you guys in Pittsburgh? Have you guys kind of started leaning towards one way? Are there any props that maybe weren't out last week that you guys have either put a play on or you're getting ready to pull the trigger on?
Jason, go ahead. I'll
it's funny because I'm kind of still waiting to see who's actually going to play for Kansas City. I think that's what's happened with a lot of the money too that hasn't come through yet. They kind of want to see what shape these receivers are in, and what shape the defensive backfield. Like Snead is the guy. It sounds like everyone's practicing, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going full go.
Sure.
I think they want to see who's available because that's going to make a big difference on Sunday. You look at the Kansas City offense, they don't have Tyreek Hill. Those receivers need to be active. You saw against Cincinnati when those guys all went out, that offense has crumbled to a standstill. They don't have – they have a running game, but they can't lean on it 100%.
Sure.
And you got Mahomes. You don't know what condition he is in. He looked pretty good. But, he's still probably 85, 90% at best at this point. So if he doesn't have any receivers, the Eagles have too many pass rushers for him to sit back there and dump the ball off the running backs and tight ends. So that's kind of what I'm waiting on. I don't think I've ever been this undecided on a Super Bowl at this point. It's kind of weird that, Carl kind of mentioned it, that it's only 1.5. It seems like almost every Super Bowl is at least 3.5, 4, up to 7. And we actually truly have like a pick'em situation. So I'm kind of waiting for that news little tidbit that kind of goes one way or the other. This thing's been at 1.5, and Carl's telling us all this Eagles money's coming in. That thing's eventually going to go to 2.5, and that'll kind of confirm what he's telling us that it's going on everywhere. What do you think, Matty?
Supposedly, everybody's saying, all this Eagles money's coming in. Sure, but it's 15% of the pool right now. It's only 15% has came in with what they're expecting. So this is going to way even out. I know they're just building the hype train here.
Sure.
But another thing that you said is the injuries. And so one of the guys to look at is Sky Moore. So they used to have Pacheco as their kick returner, explosive young kid. Well, he's now basically their starting running back. Now they have Sky Moore returning kicks. If these other guys can't play, are you going to put him back there to return kicks? And Kansas City's special teams is already a weak spot. Mm-hmm. So that's something to really look at. You look at it, everybody's saying how good the Philly O-line is. Kansas City's O-line is good, too. It's just not as good. Both D-lines are good. Philly has the edge. Linebackers kind of tossed up. Philly better DBs. KC probably a little better skill players. So two of the things is who's the better coach? Everybody, of course, leans Andy Reid. But I think Sirianni's kind of got his axe to grind and can play that up a little bit. And then the special teams, for me, it's huge. Butker's been really bad. He's 3 of 7 for over 50-yard field goals. That's no good. Elliott is 5 of 6 for over 50-yard field goals. And like I said, the kick return game is an advantage Eagles. So even field position here is going to be important, especially if we get into the under, which we brought up earlier, and it's a grind them out game because Philly's going to want to run the ball, and I think they're going to do it a lot.
Yeah, I'm right with Jason on this. I think in the previous years, I've been always saying, like, man, I know right away the two teams I got in, I was like, I'm taking this team. And this is one that I have a play. I have a teaser play. And that's really all I've done so far. I want to see, again, where it goes here over, a lot of shows by Friday, Saturday, especially before kick. Let's see where it goes here with that. But Jason made a great point. there's a lot of injuries. Where are these guys going with the injuries here for Kansas City? I have to see kind of where that is also on that. But I'm playing a teaser. Let me give it out right now. I'm the teaser king, and I do it a lot here. I'm taking Kansas City up. I'm taking it 6-point teaser, everybody. Kansas City plus 7.5, and I'm going to take the line, the over-under. I'm taking it up to 57, and I'm going to take the under because I am right with Matt in this. What do I think Philly's going to do in this game? I think Philly's going to run the ball. I think they're going to try to run the ball. Hurts has not looked very good over the last couple weeks, throwing the ball a little bit, coming back from that injury. I think they're going to try to pound the ball. Very good defense in Philly. I've said that all year. I think Kansas City will throw the ball, but do they really have a guy that can really extend down the field? Not really. They don't have Hill anymore. Kelsey, again, goes, like we said, goes out about 10-yard pivots, catches the ball and everything like that. But where, Juju's not a guy that can really stretch the field, really. He goes across. Where's that going to happen? Hey, first play of the game, take it down, tick, tick, tick. I'll be saying it a lot that game. Let's hit the under and the teaser.
One of the plays, and I haven't seen it yet, and it may not even be out yet. I'd be curious, regardless of both, whatever team gets the ball to start. I think the first play, I would think the first play maybe somewhere in that 7.5 to 8.5 over under yards. I kind of see under for both teams because, like you said, I don't see KC having a deep shot. They're going to want to get the jittery, like a 4-yard slant, just kind of let's just get some positive yards first play. Let's just get that out of the way, or maybe your run, run or something like that. That's kind of one to watch out. And then I've hit a couple of these. I only have 8 right now. But listen, it's a calculated 8. It's a calculated. And a couple of these I've already set out, so I'll breeze through them. I'm taking Chiefs money.
Everybody, he only has 8. Okay, just relax. He only has 8. We'll add on.
Listen, my schedule allows me. I have ample time to study. Chiefs money line, I hit that last show. I'm still on the Mahomes over 18.5 rush yards. I know he's quote-unquote banged up, but as Jason alluded to, and we all agree, it's definitely not a legit high ankle sprain. He moved very well north and south last game. It was the east and west. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, if you're Philly, you want to contain Mahomes. And I think that actually plays to the strength or plays to the positivity of the ankle because he's able to extend plays, and typically if you're a receiver and you can break coverage in the first 3 to 4 seconds, you're going to be wide open. It's very hard because you know what you're doing. The defensive back has to be reactive. So after that 3 to 4 seconds, it's so hard to continue coverage. So they're going to want to contain him, which then leads into that prop. He's going to go forward to not take a sack, whether he's gaining 2-3 yard dives. So I think that plays into it. Kelsey, anytime touchdown, as I touched on last week and today. Opening kickoff, no return. I actually got it in at minus 160, but it's come down to minus 135 on Barstool Sportsbook. I like both teams to score 20. I think it's kind of that 24-21 game. Still the underplay like Smitty likes. Gets me there because I don't think either offense is necessarily going to get shut down per se. I think they're going to move the ball effectively and a little eating of the clock, being shorter gains because the deep ball for Hurts isn't there right now. And then again, like you guys alluded to, there's no deep threat for Kansas City. Mahomes, again, he's thrown 2 picks in each of his 2 Super Bowl appearances, so I like him to throw at least 1. And that's great odds. It's only minus 112 on the Barstool. Here's a punter one. Over, under. I'm going to take the under 52.5 for the Philly punter for the longest kick. His longest of the year is 53, and he only did it 1 time. Barstool Smitty, he's obviously a diehard Philly fan. He's been on this team for the jump. He said he's one of the worst kickers or punters in the NFL. They have no faith in this guy. So I really like that at minus 139. I think you're kind of stealing money there. And then here's another one that kind of shocked me, and I think I'm going to jump onto it. Challenge flags used. Over, under 1.5. Plus 250 for used over. I mean, Andy Reid might use 2 in the first half himself, and Sirianni's been able to use a couple. How does 2, at least 1 on each side in the Super Bowl, anything questionable outside of the 2 minutes, how do you not throw the flag? I think that's stealing money if you can find it at the plus 250.
I want to jump in really.
Question is, will Andy Reid have any timeouts? That's the
well, listen, fair point. But he's so jumpy on that flag. I mean, we've seen it in the playoffs. What, he burned 2 of them in the first half or by the third quarter? last week? So I mean, he could cash that yourself.
Hey, I want to jump in. I want to jump in really quick and ask the Pittsburgh boys here. You know, I think you guys have been saying you think Philly's going to run the ball. I know Matt has said that. How about this Kenneth Gainwell? I had it at 19.5. And I think if this guy gets some opportunities, I was telling Q before the show, you know, you look at last game, he had 14 attempts. Now, that game was a blowout, so I understand he got some attempts in that, 48 yards. Game against the Giants, he had 12 for 112. And then the last game, regular season against the Giants, he had 5 carries for 35 yards. What do you guys, where do you think you're going? Do you think Sanders is going to get a lot of the carries in this? Because I saw some people, they really like the over 58.5, but then some people say they kind of like the under 13.5 attempts. Jason, what do you have on the running back situation there in Philly?
So Action Network covered this in their Propapalooza, and Sean Kerner and Raybon basically found out that Sanders' work rate increases based on how close the game is. So they'll use the other backs if the lead is stretched out. Like if they're up 14, they're out 10.5. That's when you see Gainwell. That's when you see Bust and Scott touch the ball. But when the game's close, Miles Sanders is their money guy. So basically, if you think this is going to be a close game, you want to look for those Sanders props because he's their guy whenever it's still close, especially when they're trailing too. So that's interesting with that. That was one thing I was leaning toward. Like I'm hearing, you know, we're all kind of on board that this is going to be a close game. So I would definitely lean toward the Sanders props if you do think that way, because it seems like they found a strong correlation with that.
Smitty, forget the running back. Just go with Hurts. He beat his rushing attempts in a blowout win over San Francisco. This is going to be close. This is his game. He's going to go over probably his rushing attempts, even though he's hurt. I mean, this dude's going to put it all out there. We all see he does some great interviews, and his over yards I've already bet over 49.5. I really like. I mean, he typically averages about 60. So
Matt, what's his attempts?
I didn't see yet, Q. It was 11.5 or 10.5 last game, and he went over that.
Jason, I see real quick.
10.5.
Oh, you saw 10.5.
Those places now.
Well, if he's down at the 1 or 2 yard line, he's getting probably 2 to 3 right there in one series, if not all 4. Yeah. So you could bang that out essentially half the bet in one drive.
I know one with Hurts.
Jason's right. Jason's right, though. It is the Miles Sanders show if it's a close game. The other guys just get a lot of run, and recently, because the games haven't been that tight. So everybody's on. Gainwell's the hot name right now. So I'm actually going to stay away from that.
Yeah, what I was looking at Hurts was completions. I saw it at 21.5, if that has not changed. And looking at it, he's 4-1 on the under in the last 5 on that. Just didn't. I kind of like the under in that. I don't think he's going to have over 21.5 completions in this game. What's your thought on that?
I think the biggest thing is like how close is this game? Because I think the running game, like for Philly, does basically comes out of them being ahead. I mean, they like to pass to score points and they like to run out the clock. So the completions could definitely be shaky if this is a close game because they're just going to keep airing it out against that Kansas City defense too, which is
not bad
against the pass. But I mean, it's still. I mean, they're going to be focused on the run. So there's going to be some guys that one-on-one matchups on man coverage. They're not afraid to do that. And you've got basically rookie corners out there against Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. So I think there's going to be some opportunities there. But I think that's where it goes. Basically, if this game gets away from Kansas City, then they're definitely going to go under there. But if it's close, I think you will continue to see Philly throwing the football.
Now
go ahead, Matt. Out to you real quick. So. Off air, I caught what you guys were talking about, and the name to keep an eye on is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who gets active.
Yeah.
Because Hardman went to the IL, whatever it is nowadays. So if you put an anytime touchdown on him, it's like plus 600. If you really want to get fun and put first touchdown, I believe it was like plus 3,000.
Wow.
And then another one.
Lay both.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just fun money. Who cares? It's just money. But then the other one, Devonta Smith, I think Jason just touched on. If Snead plays, which I'm going to say 99.9% he does and gets cleared concussion protocol. It's been 2.5 weeks, whatever it is. Devonta Smith is probably going to draw the other rookie corner. So I like Smith to actually have a better game than A.J. Brown again because they've really seemed to take A.J. Brown away in the playoffs. So they may have found something on film.
Well, I think Hurts' arm has also taken A.J. Brown away. And I think Smith has the speed to really kind of get under some of those balls that are maybe misthrown ahead of him. And not to say A.J. Brown's slow by any means, but he's getting the better coverage, which is kind of slowing him down per se because he's, tighter coverage, things like that. But I'm kind of on the under with him because of Hurts' arm, like we've alluded to, Jason and I, ad nauseum over the last few weeks. He's not a great thrower, or at least to me, he hasn't impressed me. Now, he could come out and hit 30 completions and shut us up real quick, but the Edwards-Helaire thing, I really like that, and I told Smitty, I said, watch out, man. They catch a good drive. First off, he's obviously their number one running back when he plays. He's very elusive. He can catch the ball. He's got great hands, and he is that guy, man. If they're in that within 5 yards of the end zone, watch out for that little inside shovel pass to Edwards-Helaire, and it's right there, and he's getting a touchdown. So that plays perfectly, and he's not. I would imagine he's gonna play maybe a little protected, especially early on, to kind of see, one, where the game's trending, two, what's his workload going to be coming off the IR after several weeks missed, and within that 5 yard, I mean, you're putting your best players out there, and he is the best running back, at least on staff. So to play him in a touchdown spot like that, I would imagine he's going to be on the field for at least 2, maybe 3 of those plays, and he's going to be a huge option inside for that.
I think one more, I'm looking at Dallas Goedert, the tight end. If you really look, I saw it was at receptions 4.5. The last 3 with Hurts, he's had 5 catches, 5 and 6. The 2 games previous with Minshew in there, he only had 3, but he's 3-0 with Hurts. Hurts likes to throw the ball to him. I think his over yards was 48.5. I think that's an okay play also, but I like over receptions 4.5 for Dallas Goedert, the tight end.
Hugh, you want another fun one too?
I do.
There was a I actually think I'm going to bet this as well.
You've only got 8 at this point. Come on.
Well, that's all I got right now.
I think I'm up to 9. I think you sold me on the Edwards-Helaire. I mean, I was talking to Smitty about it, so I think that's number 9.
Everybody, we have a lot of homework, man. We got to catch up with these props with Q.
Tell my wife I'm only playing 2 bets.
Well, I got 8, and my significant other doesn't care, so she'll probably piggyback as well. But here's the one I saw. Take total of the jersey numbers.
I saw that.
Over 161. So if Kelsey scores and Goddard scores, you already go over.
Yeah. Well, you can even take the under, though, because now, granted, if you think they're going to score, it kills a bet. But if you look at the receivers, they're all low numbers. I mean, A.J. Brown's low, Devontae Smith's low, Valdez-Scantling's low, Juju's low. Like, you could easily take it that way as well.
That shows what they're banking on, though. It shows that they have to fix in that these tight ends are going to play a huge role.
Now, let me ask you this. So what if, and I don't know this answer, what if Kelsey catches 2? And that's only 1. So his number only counts for 1. Okay. All right.
It's the combined number of all of the people who have caught a touchdown pass. They clarified it on a couple of the sites because people were thinking that too, because that's easy, right? Kelsey gets 2.
Yeah.
You're in the green.
Absolutely.
But, no, he only counts once, yeah.
Okay. I like that. All right, well, hey, listen, I'm going to have more by Sunday, but they're calculated. I think I've got good reasoning behind them. At least,
absolutely.
At least Wednesday night.
Good.
And when it goes 1-9 or something, I'm going to be like, I don't know what I was reading.
Am I the only person who didn't know what an octopus was?
I didn't know what an origami was either. I kind of had to research that.
Oh, the scoregami?
Scoregami, I'm sorry.
Up for that one, yeah.
No, what is an? I don't know. I still don't know what an octopus is.
It's basically when you score the touchdown and you get the 2-point following it. So it's 8 points. That's called an octopus somewhere. I've never heard of that term ever in my life. Saw it offered as a prop, and I was kind of like, is this like the Detroit Red Wings? Like someone's going to throw one out on the field?
So is that a team bet or like is that an individualized player bet or is that a team bet?
No, it's I think it's prop. The basic covers any touchdown, basically that anybody who scores a touchdown can always get the following 2 point too. So you could basically it's in play for every touchdown.
Okay.
Like anyone get one.
Yeah, but you don't have to have like Kelsey catch the touchdown and then Kelsey catch the 2 point, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So it's a player individualized to win that bet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It would be Kelsey. Like you can just pick anyone get one.
Okay. All right. I'm tracking.
Jason, you should probably look for a player prop if if they're going to throw not an octopus on the field, but will a sex toy be thrown on the field with this Philly crowd?
This game's not in Buffalo.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
If it was whiskey bottles or weapons, I would take the Philly one. That'd be like minus 150 easy.
I think you also have to look, does a Philly fan dress like Santa? There's always a Santa at a Philly game. I mean, where's Waldo? Where's Santa? All right.
I don't know. Have you heard any reports? What's the crowd like out there? I got to imagine that it's just a ton of Eagles fans. I got to imagine the KC fans are coming a little later. Just because
I would imagine.
Closer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Philly, it seems like they kind of want to stay on the streets of Philly, too, though. I mean, they're probably one of the hardest partying teams when they win.
That's just the under 30 crowd, Q. That
all right, fair enough.
I can't afford it.
Fair enough. That's true. All right, boys. Well, that's all I got for the Super Bowl. We'll wrap it up and then I know there's a massive, we got Waste Management. They're at TPC Scottsdale. I'm sure you guys want to talk about that.
Let's dive real quick. We got like 2-3 minutes here. Maddie, I went not a great week. Should have stayed off that last golf tournament.
Well, first off, that was screwed up. They don't score individually.
Well, we didn't know. I mean,
we didn't know. I mean, hey, you won. Congratulations.
Well, yeah, a lot of people don't like Aaron Rodgers, what he did. Was he, I think Jason said sandbag, and I heard that on a couple shows, or was he the smartest man in the room? Aaron Rodgers, way to get me a victory and a friendly competition between the guys from Notebook Wagering.
Kevin Kisner, thanks for...
People follow golf, though, and don't know what a slope rating is that helps you actually adjust your handicap between courses. Yeah. So I'm kind of amused by that, but I will call him a sandbagger, too.
I think he's a sandbagger. But, hey, thank Kevin Kisner, shout out for just blowing my team up in day one.
Yeah, that was a hard one. I gave out Tom Hoagie. He won it last year. Didn't play great. I mean, I think he shot like a -2 before. My best one was, oh man, I just lost his name. Damon was my best bet, top 10. Played really bad the first game or first day, and then he came back, played okay, and then just kind of went down. Russell Knox was the one I had top 20, really close. I think he got up to about tied for 16th, and then he just couldn't do anything the last day. So I have some quick thoughts. I'm going to dive a little bit more when I get home tonight, and I'll post it out. Maddie, where are you going here for the greatest show on grass, they call it?
This week, well, I mean, this is a star-studded field. This is as good as it gets. This is basically turning into the funnest major now. It's kind of taken over for the TPC down at Sawgrass, in my opinion. So there's a lot of big names that you're going to have to play. I'm going to stay away from John Rahm, though, again. It's just so hard to continually do what he's done, and the pressure's going to mount. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to play a guy who always makes my don't play list. And somehow it always seems like one of these jerks comes in here. And this week, that jerk is Tony Finau. So yeah. I like him. I think he's 16-1 or 14-1. I'm also I'm going to drop a little fun money on Patrick Cantlay, Colin Morikawa, Ryan Harmon, JT Poston, Smitty's guy, Knox. And then here's a long shot. Grayson Sigg, SIGG, to finish top 20. Huge number. I think he's 12,000-1 to actually win, something like that. Yeah, just astronomical numbers. But just drop a little $5 on him. See what happens. You can get him top 20, I believe, for like plus 500 maybe. So that's what I'm going to roll with this week.
Would you consider Homa in that John Rahm category? He's been so hot. I mean, he wins a tournament, then he goes to the local club and wins a $400 skins match.
I do think Homa will be right there this week.
Yeah, a lot
going to be there too.
Maybe a top 10, top 5.
Yeah,
a lot of people have talked about him. I know Rahm too. Like Matty, I think made a great point here. You got Rory in this too. I think it's tough to go with those two guys. You can get really good golfers in this for really great odds to win this, or maybe look at top 5, top 10 in this. Rahm, I think I saw he's done no worse than tied for 16th in this. I like the JT Poston. I had him down, Matt. I think a nice call there. Couple names I jotted down. Kim, Brandon Steele, Keith Mitchell, and Alex Noren is one that I might keep an eye on, maybe a top 20. Last year, he shot a -14. He was tied 6th for this tournament. So Alex Noren is one I like to play sometimes.
I'll tell you, boy, I'm going to try to make the Waste Management next year. I've got a sort of connection, maybe. A buddy of mine is dating a girl who actually works for TCP or TPC in the PGA, so she has access to the waste management. And I know he's going for a fact next year, so I'm going to try to fit in his suitcase and maybe go as his +1.
You lock that up quick though, because listen to this though. If you plan correctly, you can go to the TPC or the waste management, say on Saturday, zip up to Vegas for the Super Bowl. It's being held there Sunday.
I mean, are you paying for the Super Bowl ticket?
No.
Maybe we'll get Wild Style to pay for that shit. They'll send us out. Notebook Wagering. Wild Style Network's going to send us to the waste management and then drive up to the Super Bowl in Vegas.
But no, last thing real quick before Maddie, I do like the Finau and Morikawa. I think those are two really good plays. And I was looking at Morikawa myself for maybe to win this thing. So nice calls again. Hopefully, let's see where the weekend goes.
Yeah.
Well, you guys keep killing it in golf. Obviously I know golf. I play recreationally. I'm going to still continue to learn it. If I had to play, and I might even look at the Homa top 10 just because I'm comfortable. I know his game. I've watched him pretty intently. So if I had to give a play, I'll just give you the top 10, whatever that is. That's mine. Jason, you just got to throw one out now. You can't be the odd man out.
Really? Well, it's the weekend for fun props, right? So I will throw a couple on the holes and ones on the various rounds here, because obviously everyone's trying to get a hole in one on 16. But I think 12 is also a pretty easy hole in one hole. I think I made money on that last year. So I'm also disappointed in the props for this event. I wanted to see like shirt off. I wanted to see other things go on, like God knows what goes on there. Dude, they'll definitely have you because they need emergency personnel there like every single day, because it's a.
When I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock. Somebody call 911 because I'm probably in on the fun. You know, I will say this about 16, and it kind of, I love it, but it agitates me too. Like all that beer that gets wasted on a hole in one. Like I just see it go up in the air, and I'm like, "That's drinkable, fellas."
And I'll tell you, you listen to
Don't waste it.
A lot of these shows. That's one thing. Some people are how they're handicapping this is like, is a guy really? Is he going to get caught up and really enjoy the atmosphere, or some of these guys will be just like, "Man, this is."
I think your old
like
heads get distasteful
this
of
is
it,
dumb and everything like that. So some people said that's playing in their handicap a little bit.
23 of the 24 top guys are there. They know what they're getting into.
Oh, absolutely.
But they want that. They want the best. They want the craziness.
Yes, they do.
Well, I love it. That's all I got, boys. You guys got anything else?
No, good luck, everybody.
No, that's
hopefully
it for me on this end.
win some money.
Actually, wait a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go Birds.
That's disgusting. That's getting edited out.
What?
Scott, cut that out. Cut that
Scott's
out.
already working on that.
Go Birds. Hey.
All right, whatever, Matt. Well, we're going to a 3-man show next week, so that'll be fun. All right, boys, we'll see you next week. All of our plays will be posted throughout the next few days on our respective Twitters. You can get the show, I believe, getwild.com on demand. It'll be on YouTube. And is that correct, Jeff?
WildStyleNetwork.com is probably the easiest.
Okay, WildStyleNetwork.com. They're going to be on YouTube. Wild Style Radio, I believe, is still the YouTube page. And then we're going to post it on our Twitter.
Coming soon, notebookwagering.com, right?
That's it. We'll have it next week.
The easiest way to get.
We will. We'll have notebookwagering.com next week. So we're getting up in this world, Smitty.
Oh,
so all right, boys. We'll stay in touch. We'll stay on our Twitter for the fans, and like we always say, we're banging bookies this week.